Hi, I'm Bernie Hayes. I am the interim director here at the National Blues Museum, celebrating 63 years in the broadcast industry. Started off with a degree in journalism from the University of Illinois, but wasn't actually allowed to practice my degree role until a little much later. So I started off as a disc jockey in 1956 from Chicago, Illinois. Worked at many stations around the country, mostly in Chicago. WGES, WYNR, WBBM, WESA, WBC, and WVON, and so forth. And also did a stint in Alexandria, Louisiana, KDBS in Alexandria, Louisiana, and also New York City, WEDW for a while, and also San Francisco, KSOL in San Francisco. Wound up in St. Louis, Missouri in 1965 at the radio station KATZ. Worked primarily at most of the radio stations here at KATZ, WESL, KKSS, KWMU. That's I was news director there. And Channel 2, I was newscaster and weathercaster at Channel 2. And Channel 30 had a show called Soul Brotherhood, a dance show that actually Soul Train patterned itself after. It's called Jim and Bernie's Soul Brotherhood. Jim Gates was the co-host also. And also the Black Circle Hour. That was back in 1969 through 72. Also worked at KIRL. And KXLW from 67 through 69. KWK 69 to 72. KKSS 75 through 82. KATZ again, and Magic 108. We didn't separate the genres. We just say that this song is good. We don't have to categorize it. Blues, soul, hip hop, it's all different. Very little difference in it, all because of the roots of the song. But I would say I like all music. Everybody says that they like all music, even classical music. But some of the blues classics are defined as soul, R&B, hip hop. So when you ask me what kind of music I like, I give a broad category say I like all music. During the late 50s, early 60s, up through the mid 70s and 80s, the radio disc jockey, we were personalities. In fact, it was called personality radio. We used to not only be a record spinner, but we made most of our money after the radio station. We had to go out and spin records in taverns and other lounges and other venues in order to really compensate for the money that we weren't making on the air. The difference is today, most stations are programmed, usually a lot of times out of the city. But when I was coming up in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, we programmed our own music. We may have had a music director, but we programmed our own music, brought our own records into the studios, spun the records as you see EMCs doing now. But we were doing that that was the way we did the job. The records has changed. We weren't allowed to play any records that was considered lewd or naughty. That has changed also. The hip hop generation has come in and actually taken away personality radio. The way it really changed was when the FCC deregulated in 1982. President Reagan deregulated the airways through the FCC, and the conglomerates started buying up most of the TV, radio, newspapers, all the communication outlets. And then further de-escalation and deregulation in the late 80s and the 90s with Colin Powell's son, Powell, that let the conglomerates take over everything entirely. So there's hardly any personality radio right now. The radio that you hear on the pop stations, the hip hop stations and so forth, there's nothing like we used to do. We used to also be the communicators for the community. We used to tell the community what was going on. We used to call the mayor. We used to call the state representatives and the U.S. representatives, the U.S. senators and so forth to get information about what's going on in the community. That, to me, is at a void now. But that's the way it used to be. We were the personalities, we were the voice of the community, and we were in the community and of the community and about the community at that time. Coming from the 1929s, when Jockey and Cooper first started his first radio show, things have progressed. Things are so much better. they got to a peak in the mid-'60s where things were really great. But they digressed from that, and now they're going back to where they were. Things aren't as good as they used to be in the mid-'60s in those criteria. It's certainly not as good as they should be, but I have hope. I really do have hope. In the mid-'50s, '60s, '70s, African American people had a surge. They had that energy to move forward, to make changes. But I guess we came to a point in time where we become kind of complacent, and that's not good. Right now we're on a downhill slope. I know it's hard to often face your own mortality, but I've tried to live a life and do some of the things that will inspire people, especially young folks. And I try to do things that will make my peers proud of me. And I sincerely hope that when that day comes, that they'll say, well, you did well. If you didn't, you certainly tried. That's what I hope to leave. A legacy of good deeds, a legacy of teaching, a legacy of love. I'm very, very proud to be interviewed, to think I'm worthy enough to have this interview. I sincerely hope that I imparted some information that perhaps is useful to someone. But the main thing I say again is stay alive, teach one. As the saying goes, each one teach one. It takes the village to raise a child. I sincerely hope that tradition will be maintained.